Second, how are you?
Thank you, sir.
That idea is dancing. Yeah, that's where.
What they do now?
It's a residential land. Paying 4 times market value.
And rezoning it industrial and buying it. Oh, God. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah.
Hi.
A little delay here.
Yeah.
Delay.
Should be all right. Hold on. We have everybody time. Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay. Can everybody hear us okay?
Good here.
Gotta close out. Look your Google. That one you.
Boy, there's a big delay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, just I have to close out.
This one.
right here.
And then go back to your. Yep,
Thank you.
it happened to me last.
Okay. Then I was
So it's okay.
I was there like that. I'm okay with the boss. Okay.
Yeah, she did it.
Okay. All right.
We all set?
We're all set. Thank you.
Good morning.
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 I'd like to welcome everybody to the Board of Directors meeting of the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, the BWB Building, 201 West Third Street, Jamestown, New York, and also via Zoom and YouTube. It's February 28th and right at 10 o'clock, we'll have a call to order. Gary Henry is here, Brad Walters.
Here.
Rhonda Johnson.
Here.
Stephen Thorpe.
Here.
Kevin Muldowney.
Here.
Sagan Sheffield Smith.
Here.
Dan Hetzenrader.
Here.
You should have all already received the minutes from the January 24th meeting. If we don't have any questions or comments, I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Thank you. We'll move right into new business, and Rosie, I believe you're going to talk about new business A and B.
Yes. So before you today, I have a loan and pilot application for Chautauqua Lake Hospitality, which is purchasing and reimagining the historic Hotel Lenhart. Before I get into the details of the loan and the pilot request, I would like to provide a brief project description to the board. Chautauqua Lake Hospitality LLC proposes to acquire the historic Hotel Lenhart located on Chautauqua Lake in the village of Bemis Point and completely renovate the hotel to create a year-round destination. The $9.8 million budget includes property acquisition, building renovation, site improvements, soft cost, furniture, fixture, and equipment, and working capital. The project will revitalize one of the last grand hotels on the lake, creating a four-season destination that will attract visitors to Bemis Point and generate commercial activity. For the loan application, Chautauqua Lake Hospitality is requesting a $400,000 loan for furniture, fixture, and equipment, and a $100,000 loan for working capital. Both loans would have an interest rate of 4% with a 6 months deferred. For collateral, we would be second to the rank in mortgage, general UCC filing on all furniture, fixture, equipment, inventory, and accounts receivable, personal guarantee of Mr. and Mrs. Curry, and key man life insurance in the amount of the loan from Jill Curry. Additionally, the loan review committee did recommend this for approval at the February 9th loan review committee meeting. As for the pilot application, the Currys are requesting a 15-year tourism destination pilot, which would include sales tax and mortgage reporting tax exemption and property tax abatement. Additionally, the Currys are looking to create approximately 65 temporary jobs during the construction and renovation period, and 46 full-time equivalents once the hotel is ready for operation. By year 3, there should be approximately 58 full-time equivalents. Joining us today, we have Bill Curry here in person, and Jill Curry is on Zoom. They can provide a more detailed description of their project and discuss the drawings that are being shared on the screen and with the board in the board packet. Now, would you mind pulling that back drawing up?
Just do it this way. First one.
Okay, Jill or Bill, whichever would like to start first. As the board can see, we've got their site plans on the screen.
So
Yeah, Bill's gonna take the lead there.
Okay, so
everybody's familiar with the movie Field of Dreams, right? This is the building of dreams. I'm a design builder. I've been doing it for over 40 years. And Jill's been in the hospitality business with Marriott and Hilton for 25 years plus, I believe, right, Jill?
Yep.
And so this is ideal for us. Restoration is my specialty, architectural millwork and things and life safety issues. And Jill is in the a professional that he saved 2 hotels in Pittsburgh. It's all about staff training and providing an environment for people to grow within the business so people outside the business can enjoy the things that we offer. So the elevation you're seeing there is the front of the building. The building needs significant upgrades in life safety. Stair towers, sprinkler system, and fire alarm. We also want to provide full access for anybody that comes to our campus. So we will have access for anybody at any level of need. We plan to add a rooftop area, which is the center area, that will have an elevator to it. So anybody that walks in the front door can get to that spot and enjoy the view from the roof.
Deb, if you could go to the second page,
Okay.
I'll just kind of scroll through so the board can see.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So currently the first floor, that little pink area at the bottom of the sheet, just above that is what's called a lamplighter lounge. Originally it was a billiard room. It's a very small space. We intend to move that location to the upper area where you can see some tables.
Okay.
And offer more of a breakfast, lunch, and light dinner menu there with a brick oven. Entertain more people inside and out. We will have some patios on the upper left, the north end of that sheet to the left. There's a patio that will join to the lamplighter lounge. One of the things we are doing with the first floor, two pink shaded areas at the bottom. Those are original rooms to the hotel. They will be kept original with the original furniture from Dr. Whithart. So it will be in an exact replication of what was there. And the hotel will be kept, the goal is to keep the hotel looking like it always has, just dressed up. When Jill and I were asked a while ago, how would you describe the architecture? We call it shabby chic. We want to make it chic shabby.
Yep.
The building on the upper left is an original laundry facility to the property. We are going to make that a standalone bakery and a creamery. So we feel that although the main kitchen of the hotel will do baking as well, we'll have some smaller things so people can come and visit that area directly. Our goal is to make this a walking campus. We don't just want guests come to our hotel. We want people being this morning to be able to come and visit. The area below the bakery is called our pairing patio. We intend to have art shows, artists, farmers markets, and things of that sort. So the community can enjoy this campus as well as guests.
Year round.
Year round. Yeah, and the pool, which is in the center lower, the intention there is to have that pool open through January 1st. It will be heated. It will be steaming, and hopefully to be an attraction for all to enjoy.
Bill, do you want to point out the solarium
yeah.
off of the dining room?
So this just above the pool to the right, there's a solarium. Yeah,
No, you can't move that way.
Mm-mm. Well, hold on.
There you go.
that is, I had the opportunity to salvage 3 greenhouses from Lake Champlain 2 years ago that were part of the Shelbourne estate. They were built in 1905. We brought them back to Pittsburgh and always hoped to have a place to put one. That's where one's going to go. So we're going to completely restore that greenhouse and use it as a solarium. On the left, the bluish area, that is currently employee housing. We believe strongly employee housing is a necessity in resort type towns. So we are actually going to be changing that space into a spa and raising the roof above that space to put employee housing back in place. And you'll see that when we get to the 3rd floor. That pink area above that pink area on the upper left will be a deck for yoga and things of that sort. We'll be adding some, right now, I think till 57 rooms.
57 right now.
57, we're going to drop it back to 40. So every room can have a bathroom there, and there will be some areas that we combine rooms for suites. We won't be eliminating any walls. We're going to keep the building really as it is. We're just going to be modernizing it and adding some things in places to make it better for our guests. So the upper portion, you can see there's looks like a set of stairs. That's one of the I don't know if who's familiar with the Wood and Hart, but currently there's 2 fire escapes on the building right now that I wouldn't walk up. So those will be enclosed in each code. I'm a code enthusiast. This building will be the benchmark for code compliance for Chautauqua County at all levels. I think that there needs to be a lot more examples of this work, and we're hoping to be the first of many.
Great, great.
That's the 4th floor. Oh, actually, could you go back one slide, please?
Mhm.
So the left, on the far left there in the center, that's the new employee area. So there'll be 6 rooms. There'll be some common space, bathroom, small kitchen. It's not huge space, but a person in need that we might be able to recruit to the area, either on a part-time or full-time basis. We want to have that available so we can do that. The 4th floor, the only change really to the 4th floor, other than a couple bathrooms, will be the main staircase of the hotel will now travel to the roof. And that is the roof. The building had a fire many years ago. It used to have a gable end, and when they recaptured the building after the fire, they put a lot of flat areas. So this is the area that you see that's flat is currently there. All we're going to do is reinforce the roof and put a railing system up. The elevator will come up to there. There'll be 3 stair towers that come up to the roof. There'll be a full access bathroom on the roof, and there will be another bathroom for the bar area. If you scroll down, just you lift that page slightly, there's the bar. That bar top that you can see right in the center is the original bar top to the Lamplighter Lounge now. So we're going to utilize that upstairs. So we're going to kind of recreate that space because a lot of people like it. And so but you'll have a 360-degree view of the lake from that area.
Nice.
And that's just the site plan. You can see the solarium there. There'll be some hardscaping out front. We want to just provide a little bit better area for people to sit, keep it clean, keep it dry, and probably put some of the fire pits out in front. So it could be, we can extend the season in the front of the building as well. To the lower step, there's the leeward patio. That'll be all hardscaped with pavers and plantings and things like that. That's an area that we intend to use, again, as part of the walking campus. But it will also be used in the, like now, in things when the wind comes off that lake, the building does a great job blocking the wind. And we feel that we can utilize that space efficiently and extend the season because of that shield there. These are just some additional elevations. This is looking from the park. That is looking from the condos. And there's a picture of Bemis. Our son has coined the name Bemis Sky for the book. And that's the pairing center. The center picture is the pairing patio. The building itself that you see with the pairing patio is an existing building that used to be the carriage house, where they put the carriages and the horses for the hotel. The left side will be dedicated to the pool and bathroom. Full access bathroom for the pool and the pairing center. And there'll be individual stalls will be created for artists, and which want to kind of do a small history center within the building too. We just think that that's fun, and Bemis Point does a great job maintaining the history so people can understand it. Those are just some additional pictures of Bemis Sky and
I think that's it. Yeah.
Jill can share the hotel side services.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So a couple things. Time flies when you're having fun. I did the math over here while Bill was talking, and I have been in the hotel business for 35 years. So
I'm not sure how that's possible.
So, but a couple of points. We think that the greenhouse is pretty special, and it will create a really unique atmosphere when we're on Bemis or just in the area. What we feel like we're missing for dinner and just socializing is a place with a nice fireplace that we can sit and have a glass of wine, or sit with our kids and have a cup of coffee. So we really intend to create some very magical rooms in the feel of up there. We're going to have to do some work on the chimneys and as Bill said, the fire escapes. But Bill has got some really amazing ideas to utilize some of the old components of the hotel into the new hotel. So the chimneys may be taken down, but we're going to reutilize the brick in a really unique way, as well as the stair treads. So I just wanted to point that out. It's hard to describe everything that's been in our minds for the last year, but you did a great job, Bill. So hopefully everybody has a good sense of it. From the standpoint of what we're going to offer, yeah, so we are going to have an online presence, which should honestly help Bemis Point overall. I know that there is a website, but we will have a reservation system. So we'll have the 40 rooms, and then we'll also have the 3 houses for rent all the time. So that's worth noting, I think. The spa will be incorporated. And we anticipate that we would get up to 4 massage therapists there pretty regularly. It seems like there's some demand for that, but we fully know that we need to create some demand ourselves, and we're prepared to do that, whether it's through wine dinners, which is something we're pretty passionate about once a month, so that we have guests coming from the Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Buffalo market. And we get a really nice following off season. So we're prepared to spend some time and, you know, hard work getting all of that together. The dining room, we're going to rename it the Crystal Room. And that is honestly where we expect we will be having most of, you know, life's celebrations. So small weddings, birthday parties, retirements, graduations, all of births. all of those special moments. That's the area in which we will utilize, as well as the pairing patio whenever it makes sense during the right time of year. The bakery will be, you know, as Bill said, a standalone. And we think that that side of the building and that area is a little bit underutilized. So we hope that that makes that a little more comfortable for people to use. It won't be huge, but it will be great quality. Our daughter is a baker, and so she's the one who's going to put that all together. I think from a service standpoint, you know, we're talking about a pretty upscale inside. Crystal chandeliers in all of the rooms, really nice amenities in the bathrooms, warm floors in the bathrooms. So just if you can walk through that, that would be, it will be an experience. I don't know if the people staying there now I know they haven't had that experience. So hopefully we're going to attract some new customers into the market.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Bill. Is there any questions from board members for the Currys?
I have a question for Kevin Costner. Will you keep the rockers up front?
Rockers are saying,
Okay.
I don't want to go through that.
Yeah.
Not that we would,
At
but
least some of them.
yeah, no, the rockers are, it's just, I mean, Instagram could have a rocker catalog with
Yeah.
to show pictures from Leonard.
Right.
No, the rockers stay.
Bill, could you talk a little bit about the timeline or what you're hoping on what you're expecting? It's probably a little different, but.
Well, we're hoping that we can close some before April 30th.
Okay.
We think the project will take somewhere between 6 and 9 months. Most likely 9, just because of the environment that we work in today. And it will be up and running, trying to get up and running as quickly as possible, which is, you know, a project of this size is tough to start and tough to finish. So we've got to make sure that we can, those two bookends are as close as possible to each other.
Perhaps you could also talk about the grants, because as we know, this project is contingent upon getting some of that other funding coming from the state and also the bank loan as well.
That Jill can speak to the grants. She's the.
Yeah, so the village has submitted the Restore New York grant for the maximum request of $2 million. And I spoke to Diego, I'm sure some of you know him, yesterday. He doesn't have a timeline on when that would be, we would be notified about that, but he and the village will be notified first. And then the other grant that we will request for is due April 15th. And that also is 20% of the project. So that's another $2 million that we'll be requesting. In speaking with Diego again, he said that the, you know, there would be notification, looks like in May or June for that particular grant. We have the understanding that the grants, excuse me, will not be, you know, it's reimbursable. So we're working with M&T Bank on all of those components. Also, the IDA, you know, the request for the loan there will assist. And then our cash in is about 1.2 million.
Additionally, the Currys are working on an OCR grant application. A few things that have to fall in place before that one can go to the OCR board.
Thanks, Rosie.
Are there any other questions from the board?
Looks fabulous, Bill. I mean, amazing.
Well, we're, you know, I mean, I kind of look at the Lenhart as a monument. Right? It speaks of the 142 years it's been standing there, but it's been underutilized for many years. And this is the Johnsons have done what they could do, and we're thrilled to be part of this project and honored actually. But one of the reasons that we're very interested in this building hasn't been spoken about yet. I admire the effort that the residents and the businesses of Bemis Point go through every winter to carry winter into spring into summer, and then they lose a huge volume of their business. and they carry it year after year after year. We think that building upon that can make it a year-round destination. And that's what we're thrilled about, because we think it's very possible now, and they do too. So that's our hope.
Great, thank you.
If there are no other questions from the board, we do have an approving resolution for you guys for the $500,000 loan. And then I will have Millen describe the due diligence resolution for the pilot portion.
Okay, due diligence resolution is sort of the standard starting point for the IDA review. The due diligence resolution authorizes and instructs staff and council to start conducting the due diligence, including a secret review for the environmental impacts, holding a public hearing, and starting to work with the applicant and their counsel to identify any issues. This would obviously be a retail project. Presumably it qualifies for the tourism destination exception. So we would be including that as part of the due diligence. And if it passes, then staff and I would conduct all the due diligence, wrap everything up, then come back to the board for final approval if we don't find any issues that would prohibit us from doing that.
Thank you, Millen.
We'll go ahead and look at these two resolutions separately, but Brad, if you'd move resolution A1.
Aqua Lake Hospitality LLC. I'm sorry, I'm rolling. Resolution 02282301, Chautauqua Lake Hospitality Due Diligence Resolution.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And we'll do a roll call vote. Gary Henry votes aye. Brad Walters.
Aye.
Rhonda Johnson.
Aye.
Stephen Thorpe.
Aye.
Kevin Muldowney.
Aye.
Sagan Sheffield Smith.
Aye.
Dan Hetzenrader.
Aye.
And it's unanimously passed. Now, Rhonda, could you move resolution B1?
Yes. Resolution 02-28-23-02. Resolution of the members of County of Chautauqua Industrial Development Agency to approve an LTAC loan to Chautauqua Lake Hospitality LLC.
Do we have a second? Thank you. Again, a roll call vote. Gary Henry votes aye. Brad Walters.
Aye.
Rhonda Johnson.
Aye.
Stephen Thorpe.
Aye.
Kevin Muldowney.
Aye.
Sagan Sheffield Smith.
Aye.
Dan Hetzenrader.
Aye.
It's approved. Very, very impressive, looking at this and just the expertise that you both have in this field. When you take it on a project this big and this important to the community, it's nice to know that the people that are involved know what they're doing. It's something, that they've been involved with for a long time. And so we certainly wish you the best. Hope all these other grants and all these things can come together and we can move ahead on this.
Well, thank you. We're thrilled to have this opportunity to work with you, and we really, you were spearheaded at the beginning, and we thank you for that. So thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carol, did you want to present new business C?
Thank you, Chairman. New business C is an LTAC loan request that went to the loan review committee. They recommended it, if they were presenting it as a resolution. It's Alchemy Acres, and the project is a purchase of 64 acres of land in the Westfield area. It's 7940 Felton Road in Westfield. Ann McIntosh and Nicole Castle were at the president of the loan review meeting. They're two very enthusiastic and very qualified to do this. They purchased 64 acres in Westfield. On the property, there's 29 acres of grapes. The grapes are now being cultivated by the gentleman who bought the property from, who is going to stay on and assist them with the grape farming. Right now, there's a contract in place with Niagara Co-op. This will continue. It'll be passed along to them. It's probably about 350 tons of grapes. Or excuse me, 125 tons of grapes. It's about 350 a ton. So they have immediate revenue coming in. Now their project is kind of an ag tourist destination. I did send a video. I don't know if anybody had time to look at it, but Ann and Nicole have a Alchemy Farms in Hamburg, New York. And it is their on-site consumption of wine and beer. And there's amenities there like special cheeses and fruits and food, and they make some food too. So it's an experience where you go into their event center and you have a board and you put you pick out the food you want, the wine, the beer, the champagne that you want, and it's a very comfortable destination. If you were able to see it, it's a beautiful site. They've done a really good job. They lease this place in Hamburg, but the purpose is to mimic this in Westfield as an event center for weddings, showers, baby showers. And they've been very successful in Hamburg. They were on called the 1716 Best Wine Bar. They did get that award 2 years in a row. And then they were on the Channel 7 Believe in Buffalo. They have excellent reviews. They're very busy. They have another part of their business, and again, they're going to mimic this. They have bubble buses, they call them. So they travel to events, and they have it on site also for events that they'll have. They grow flowers. So if you're going to have an event there, you can come in and order everything, even the flowers. They have I don't know, they've been very successful. I think there's been 75 events there in 2022. So besides, the project actually involves for them in Westfield to build a barn for storage, have some refrigeration there, and build a building for a spirit and wine and beer and event center to come to. They want to go a little further with the Westfield property, and maybe next year just build some cabins on there. And they want to make it a tourist destination in that corner of Chautauqua County. A little bit lower scale than the Bemis, but there's a need for it.
Mhm.
And so they did come. If you have any questions on what they really do, they're certified sommeliers. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but which means they're wine connoisseurs. And they have a lot of experience. They left their corporate world behind, and they have IT marketing experience. Very enthusiastic and want to make this work in Chautauqua County. So they do have an LTEC loan request for $177,720, 100 working capital, and the rest of the $77,720 would be for equipment. They are pairing with Northwest Bank. Right now, Northwest Bank approved a $30,000 line of credit. They did ask them for a little more than that before when it went to loan review, so it changed a little bit, but it puts us actually behind less, and they'll still have enough to work with. But Farm Credit is involved. They purchased property through Farm Credit. Farm Credit also gave them a $100,000 line of credit. And they have an equipment loan out there already for $50,000. They'll be buying like a tractor, equipment to seed the fields, to grow the flowers and such. They have a bond. It's called an SMBX bond for $50,000. It's for 5 years at 9.5%. And I guess anybody can apply for this bond. It's more on the ag side, and they were approved for that. USDA is in there for a $75,000 loan. And there's cash equity. But there's 65.5, but there probably is a little more equity in that. They have bought some equipment and such. And then it'll be combined with cash also, mostly cash. So the total project is 671,220,000. Now for collateral, they are offering personal guarantees, life insurance assignment, and we'd have a subordinate lien position on all the machinery and equipment, including future machinery and equipment, furniture, fixtures, accounts receivable, all the assets of Alchemy Farms, which is their parent company. But of course, this request only involves Chautauqua County. We can only lend to Chautauqua County. So there is going to be a mortgage on it. And the mortgage is it's a mortgage on the land that they own. Of course, we'd be behind on not Northwest, but we'd only be behind Farm Credit. And this is called an abundance of caution mortgage, which means it's like filing a mortgage, but it gives you a little more collateral and it's less expensive to file for them. So the loan review committee, they're the ones that they did bring this up. Because I had never really actually heard of filing a mortgage that way, but I guess it's cheaper. And you file it at the county clerk's office, and it's abundance of cautions. If you did need it, if anything happens to the loan and defaulted, you could, you're there, you have a lien, of course, behind Farm Credit. But right now, there's probably 87,000 already in the mortgage, between the mortgage and the appraisal, so that they owe in the appraisal. So that looks good. Their cash flows a little decent, and hopefully they want to bring this experience to Westville.
Thanks, Carol.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, so any questions from that?
It's seasonal.
No, well, once they get going and they mimic their Hamburg facility year round, I imagine it would be,
Initially.
80 initially, and 80% of it probably seasonally, but once they get this bar going, and they've done a lot of work already by themselves, they're getting a well put in there, and they have this guidance for the grapes, so there's automatic revenue coming in, immediately. They'll have some negative cash flow a little bit here and there, but in using their whole, and our collateral is on the umbrella of their companies. They also own land right on the lake in Buffalo, and they want to make a champagne destination out of that. They're very enthusiastic girls. Yeah. They've done well. I don't know, did anybody see that clip?
Yes.
Yeah, very, very impressive.
Yeah. So that's the product, adding flowers and grapes to it.
Millen, have anything you wanted to add to this one?
No, I think it was a very good summary presentation. This is just the Altech loan. No IDA pilot is involved.
Thank you.
Thanks. Tom.
Steve, would you move resolution C1 for us?
Sure. Resolution 02282303. Resolution of the members of the County of Chautauqua Industrial Development Agency to approve an LTEC loan to Alchemy Farms LLC.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Thank you. We'll do a roll call vote. Gary Henry votes aye. Brad Walters.
Aye.
Rhonda Johnson.
Aye.
Stephen Thorpe.
Aye.
Kevin Muldowney.
Aye.
Sagan Sheffield Smith,
Aye.
Dan Hetzenrader,
Aye.
and it's approved. I was driving down Felton Road and I see a well sign up where they're drilling a well, so I was wondering if that was the location, where this is going in. So very, very exciting, and certainly watching the videos, what they've done up in Buffalo is impressive.
Yeah, people love it. I think some of our staff went there
Yeah,
for,
Yeah.
and they enjoyed themselves.
we certainly wish them the best. Are you also presenting new business D?
So we're back, we have an LTAC request and we're back to 201 Winchester, the former Lexington building. ZTS Development, who is Alan Steinberg. And everyone is familiar with Alan. He has some buildings and he leases it out to tenants and he's been very successful at it. He is back at looking at purchasing the building, okay? So he wants to purchase a former Lexington building. Evans Bank is the major bank. They have a commitment out there for $825,000, which they did raise. Before it was $525 because the price of the building went up. Our loan for $400,000, the LTAC loan for 4%, for 20 years. I'm sorry to put the 20 in there, I guess, for 20 years, remain the same. And Alan also upped his equity amount. Now he raised it up to $224,000, which makes the total project cost $1,499,000.
Hey, Carol, real quick, just so the board members realize that we approved this basically, a year ago?
Yeah,
And he just didn't follow through with it. So he's back and, the terms and everything changed a little bit. So that's what Carol's referring to here.
thank you.
Yeah.
Except for our loan didn't change. We're still in after 400,000. Appraisal went up, the bank went up, his equity went up. And he's very actively looking for tenants. That's the difference besides the amount that went up. Their Bush Industries just doesn't need it anymore and they were renting out maybe 75% of the place. But Alan has talked to actually some clients that he has right now that are leasing. And he's getting good results and he has a history of that. Also, eventually they do lease. And I think this base will lease. He can, upgrade it for manufacturing purposes rather than warehousing and
Probably also know that,
definitely would, okay, go ahead.
probably also know that he's got 3 other loans with us? That he pays
That's right on money, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Timely.
current with his loan.
Yeah.
very current.
Yeah.
Alan bought the former Berry Plastic Building in the Chadwick Bay Industrial Park. He
Yeah.
bought the Conagra Building in Fredonia. And he owns the Stoneman Spec Building. He bought that from us as well. Well, that's not an all-tech loan. That's an IDA loan bond note that we did. We received the money from him. We're paying the county back to their bond and 100%. And the county's getting good interest off us on that, Kevin. Why don't you know that?
Yeah, and he's got a lot of connections with a lot of the manufacturers that are looking for warehousing.
Well, also I will mention that we will have a second lien position, a mortgage position on the real estate behind Evans Bank. We also have his personal guarantee and we have second lien assignment of rents behind Evans Bank also. We are second position lien on all business assets, including but not limited to the furniture and fixtures, machinery and equipment and inventory, anything. And accounts receivable. We have besides his unlimited personal guarantee, he asked us to, if we would waive the life insurance requirement on that. He just because he has one life insurance policy, wants to keep it secure for his son, and we have given him that, we have been positive to that request on his other loans also. So I think we have a lot of collateral without, asking him for his life insurance assignment.
That building is what, 100-some thousand square feet? I can't remember off the top of my head.
97.
97, okay. Yeah, it's in pretty good shape.
They put a new roof on. Yeah, they put a brand new roof on that building.
Yeah, the former owners have put over $1 million into it.
Just in the roof, over $1 million. Yeah. I think they wish they would have tore it down now. They've had on it a long time, but
Yeah.
It's a good outcome though.
Yeah, great outcome. I mean, it's a brownfield.
Yep.
There's no active remediation there. There's just monitoring, and that scared a bunch of people away, but it's going well now, so.
Very good.
Yeah.
Was there any questions? If not, Kevin, would you move new business D1?
Resolution 2-28-23-04, resolution of the members of the County of Chautauqua Industrial Development Agency to approve an LTEC loan to ZS Development LLC.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do a roll call vote. Gary Henry votes aye. Brad Walters.
Aye.
Rhonda Johnson.
Aye.
Stephen Thorpe.
Aye.
Kevin Muldowney.
Aye.
Sagan Sheffield Smith.
Aye.
Dan Hetzenrader.
Aye.
And it's approved. Thank you. Carol, I think you have a very busy day today.
Mill and I are partnering on this one, but
There we
I'll very briefly say what it is, and then I'll turn it over to Millen. This is a due diligence resolution for a tax lease and pilot. It's for the Crow Group. It's a potential purchase of the former truck light building at 310 East Elmwood and Falconer. And Mr. Krog is going to renovate it and maybe, look for potential leases. Asking for mortgage tax and property tax. Mortgage tax is $43,750. The pilot would save them $513,993, and taxes over 15 years. The 75%. So, Millen, would you like to say anything else about the resolution?
I would. This is, again, a preliminary due diligence resolution. On this one, there is some due diligence that we have to do, including the possible lease to manufacturer. We understand that's in the works, but not there yet. The other thing is in the resolution, and again, this is just a due diligence resolution, but we included the possibility of a sales tax exemption, because if there is a tenant in place when we go and approve this, or later on, that tenant may ask for their own sales tax letter. But if not, then if Krog is going to do the renovation for a tenant, either identified or to come later, then we may give them the sales tax letter. So again, that's going to be part of the due diligence that we do if it's approved today. This and the prior due diligence resolution authorizes a preliminary agreement between the IDA and the applicant, which authorizes all of this due diligence and includes an indemnity of the IDA for fees, et cetera. So again, it's the sort of standard preliminary due diligence resolution, but in this one, there's still some more information that we're going to work on with Krog as to what the ultimate use is going to be.
Thanks, Millen.
So I know this is one that we've been working on for a while, and there's still a lot of moving parts, but it'll be good to get this due diligence resolution started and hope we can get this across the finish line. Sagan Sheffield Smith, would you move new business E1?
Will. Resolution 02-28-23-05, the Crow Group LLC due diligence resolution.
And do we have a second? Second, thank you. Roll call vote. Gary Henry votes aye. Brad Walters.
Aye.
Rhonda Johnson.
Aye.
Stephen Thorpe. Kevin Muldowney.
Aye.
Megan Sheffield Smith.
Aye.
Dan Hetzner. Aye. It's approved. Very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mark, did you wanna?
Yeah, I'm gonna be very brief today because I want to spend some time during the CREDC board meeting talking about the efforts of the Partnership for Economic Growth, which we're gonna start doing that every month, is sort of giving a report on the IDA side and on the CREDC side. And I just wanted to mention two things. One is that we talked about this, and we all agreed that that it was time for us to sort of pump the brakes on taking any new solar project applications. The primary reason being that we've got a number of them that are stacked up right now that have not closed. And we want to get we want to see some closings on those. I think there's 21 altogether. I think we closed on 4, 21 that we had approved, and we closed on 4. So it's sort of like, let's get more of those closed. I gave a presentation, Kevin, Rich and I gave a presentation to the Planning and Economic Development Committee, and the entire legislature was invited. There was an article in the paper about it. And we talked about, the number of projects that there are, the number of megawatts. I think I want to say it's 350 or so, 350 megawatts of energy that will be created from those 21 projects. 2% of farmland to be consumed by those projects, and a majority of which is less than optimal soils. And they really wanted to know all those things, and also hear about, what's in it for the town, what's in it for the landowners. And so we went all through all that. But unless a community comes to us and it was like really pushing us hard to go ahead with a project, we're the message out there that we're pumping the brakes. The other thing is, I know there's been articles in the paper, and people always talk about this, especially around election time, about shovel-ready sites, right? We need shovel-ready sites. We need shovel-ready sites. Well, I'm not at a point yet where I want to, spill the beans about what we're doing, but I wanted to assure the board that we're working very hard, very, very hard on a shovel-ready site, or potentially more than one. But it takes a lot of work, takes a lot of money, and takes a lot of time. And we're actively pursuing a 150-acre site right now. And I'm very grateful to the legislature. They've allocated $4.8 million of the ARPA money. They recognize that this is very important too. Plus about $700,000 in capital projects money too. And the IDA, we've set aside up to $1 million. And we're also pursuing several grants, the biggest of which is the Fast New York program that was announced last year. It's in this year's budget, and for the infrastructure. So, it's a big project and very expensive, but we're working very, very hard on it. And at a certain point, I'll be able to talk more about it publicly. So I think with that, I think that's all I want to talk about right now.
Okay, great. Thank you. A lot of exciting things in the works, and we'll see how those come about throughout. Rich, did you want to do a treasurer's report?
Speaking of exciting, we're going to review our balance sheet, P&L. Kayla and I met with Sagan last week, went over this in a little more detail than we presented to the board. This is our balance sheet. P&L has changed a lot in the last year with all the grants and things that Mark's getting. So this is a consolidated. So this is the preliminary numbers that we gave to the auditors. The auditors are in the midst of their audit. We had the audit committee meeting. We'll talk about that at the end of this. Just some highlights here. We're in a very strong cash position. It was not always the case. 17 years ago. Our accounts receivable under the IDA is $1.9 million. A lot of that is deferred fees from larger wind farm projects and large projects that we've stretched out. You can see under loan receivable under the IDA, we got the Dunkirk Metal Product Spec Building and 207 Stoneman. So that was the Chadwick Bay Industrial Park and the Stoneman Industrial Park that the county bonded for us. And we sold them and we took out a note. If you look down below under all the way down to bonds payable, you'll see bond payable Chadwick Bay and bond payable Stoneman. So again, we sold those buildings, we held the paper, we're paying the county back and we're getting the revenue on those. So that turned out to be cash flow neutral and a good thing for us and for the county. And it was a great thing for the businesses that are in those too. We have land held for resale under the IDA, 991,000, almost 800,000 is just the Bush property behind that we bought from Bush behind the Bush building up in Mason Park. So again, strong cash position. We'll turn now to the statement of revenue and expense. So the IDA, we're showing a loss there of 249,375, basically timing some of the closing of the projects. We had anticipated closing a lot more of the solar projects, particularly the Ripley project, which would have doubled that number at least. So, but that's coming in the spring. So, but everybody else did real well this year. I want to point out the Northern Chautauqua Industrial, the second column. That is the money that we have received from the county for industrial parks. And if we go back to the first page, we've got deferred revenue there of 1.7 million that we have in cash, but we haven't spent yet that we're holding with, as Mark says, 2 more million to come into that column and more grants to be applied. So we've spent $55,000 of that so far doing due diligence work, and engineering and that, and some fees in there. So moving along nicely. The IDA CARES Act 22 was the last year for any grant to come from there. We drew down the entire 10.5 million. So that's that column. CREDC and CPEG come moving along nicely. This will be the last time that we will be reporting on CREDC and CPEG at the IDA meeting. We were asked by the Authority Budget Office to do that under CREDC next year. So they'll have a separate budget and a separate reporting to everyone on that. The last page we'll review is our variance report as of 12/31/22. Just to highlight some of the grant income. We deferred a lot of that grant income. We had the money, we just didn't spend it. So we've got the money, but we didn't spend it. So we're a little under budget there. We were a little over budget on some of the business development and tourism grants that came in. We got from the county out of the ARPA and some other funds. On the expense side, you can see our professional fees are up. A lot of that is directly related to the grants. But in total, as we look, same with publicity and promotion. A lot of that was due to particular grants where we were helping people do publicity. It was part of the grant. So again, we had actual revenue over expense of 2.4 million. So another good year. And unless there's any questions, Gary, I'll talk a little bit about the audit committee. All right, so Jeanette, you passed out or you put on the posted the audit committee minutes?
Yes.
We had an audit committee meeting on February 13th at 10 o'clock. It was Mark, myself, and Kayla. Gary Henry, Brad Walters, and Sagan were here, and the auditors were Dave DeTana, Justin Eisman, and Portia from VWB. So I won't go through and read that, but it's basically the same thing as the last few years. The only thing that has really changed as far as standards and things go is that there's now a requirement to take a look at all your leases that you have with someone or leases people have with you, and whether you need to put them on your balance sheet. It'd just be an asset and liability, so it'd be a wash, but there is this new Gatsby out. I guess the accountants were bored and they needed to come up with something. So we don't have a lot of leases, but we have a few, the building being the big one. So they're going to take a look at that and they might make a recommendation there. So,
And the complexity too, I think with a partnership and all the grants coming in, so it's a little more of a, task for them to really get their head wrapped around, right?
They're gonna get your money this year.
Yeah.
So the audit committee will meet again about a week before the March board meeting. We will then review the draft. If there might be some changes there, but they'll present at the March board meeting, a final draft meeting. And then Kayla and I have the pleasure of piling all that information into the public authorities reporting information system. And we've got about a week to do it. Pile all that stuff in there and get everything in there but things are moving along nicely. Kayla, you must be doing a good job. The auditors don't even talk to me anymore. So, that's all good. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman, unless anybody has any questions.
And it's nice to have BWB working on the audit for us. That committee, we went over that. There's a lot to go over. And so certainly the IDA and all the other agencies do a lot of different things. And so it's nice to have them looking it over and understanding it and just sitting in on that, realizing how much, they've done it for years and how much that they know and all these little details that would be very difficult, to understand. So we'll trust that will come back well and we'll have more information on that. At this time, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing the financial or credit history of a particular person or corporation, and to discuss matters relating to the proposed acquisition, sale, or lease of real property. In particular, I would like to discuss the status of our loan portfolio and the financial and credit status of some of our borrowers. Also, we will discuss certain possible property acquisitions and dispositions, and I believe that discussing them in open session would substantially affect their value. Do I hear such a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?